Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, Maverick family. Welcome back to the Maverick channel. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. It's a privilege to be here with you all, and I appreciate you spending your time here and coming back. Much to share with you tonight. It looks like we are back on our main Maverick News channel. So that's good news. But we're not going to stay on there long. And that's because some of the subject matter we will be dealing with tonight is a little bit, shall we say, racy. Blame your grandparents for today's culture war or wars. Maybe more than one war being waged all at the same time, but a culture war nonetheless. What does that mean? Blame your grandparents? I will lay some stuff out for you tonight that will take us back to the good old days. You know, everybody says they want to go back to the good old days. Everybody remembers the before times, and I long for the before times as well. But some things just happened over the last 24 hours that put some old movies in front of me and got me thinking about culture, relationships, politics, all of these things. And it made me realize that the seeds for today's problems were really planted a long time ago. And it's not just our parents that we should be blaming, it's our darn grandparents. Anyway, we'll get into it. Also, another attack on the Crimea, on that bridge in Crimea. We'll be going to a report from Kevin Michelizzi over in Crimea. We will bring you the latest as well on the wildfire situation in Hawaii, on Maui, and long wait times for surgeries in Canada and getting worse. So bad that some people are now leaving the country because the socialized healthcare system simply is not providing adequate care for people. The service just is not there. Yes, people are paying their taxes, but not getting their money's worth. All that and a whole lot more coming up right here on today's broadcast. Well, tonight's broadcast, depending on where you're watching from. Because we are broadcasting all around the globe and the world is watching. Stay with me. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I'm back. So, I guess the first thing we should talk about tonight is the situation in Hawaii, on Maui. The death toll there continues to climb. Now, the official death toll now sits at 80 this evening, and that number is expected to increase even more. Authorities there saying that the wildfires are spreading rapidly due to very dry conditions stemming from a drought combined with powerful winds. Much of the historic town of Lahaina has been destroyed, and a state of emergency remains in effect for the entire island. Travel there is still being discouraged. Apparently, we now have over 2,200 structures damaged or destroyed on the island. Massive destruction. And 86%, seems like maybe an overly accurate estimation, of the buildings exposed to fire were classified as residential. So people's homes, basically. And wildfires continue to flare up across the island, and this is quite possibly, and I think it has been said, that this is the most destructive, the worst disaster the island has ever experienced. The town of Lahaina remains barricaded. People are still being warned to stay out of that area due to all kinds of different hazards, including toxic particles from smoldering areas. And they are advising people to wear masks and gloves. And in this case, I would say masks and gloves are probably warranted and probably effective, because you're not dealing with something microscopic. You're dealing with ashes and particles floating in the air that are part of the smoke and the effluent coming from the burning matter. We'll take a look now at some of the footage that is coming online here. And, there is, in spite of all of this, I would say some things to be optimistic about, things that seem almost like a sign, and things that give people hope, I guess is what I'm saying. And here is a video that illustrates just that, what I'm talking about. Hang on a second here. That was not the video that I wanted to show you. There's a video out there of a ancient tree that is still standing. Banyan tree. Where did it go? I had it queued up and it should have been right on the top, and it's not there. Well, let's take a look at this footage. Here's drone footage. This is actually a little bit older. Do that other clip that I was sitting there that disappeared. Terrible devastation. Scroll down and I think have we seen this footage before? No, I think this is new. Fire just swept over everything there. And here's new footage just 2 hours ago. So this map gives you sort of an indication of scale. The pink area, I guess, represents the area that's been affected by the fires. Yeah, so that's, I mean, it's a really huge swath. That was before, and this is after. And we did see this footage yesterday. But now they're giving you before and after shots. Nothing left of the building. Those winds just pick the embers up and blow them. More aerial footage.
Outlaw Road. And to Puamana. You can see most of, well, like half of Puamana survive. It's probably one of the most beautiful old school resorts in Maui. I've sold a few in there, quite a few, and I think they're gorgeous, and it's really hard to see. A lot of them are gone. But I'll turn right here, and then I kind of go back down Front Street to see the other side. I think some of the reason they survived is the fact that, you know, many of them are newer construction, because a lot of people will break those down. Newer roofs too. I kind of straddle the road on the other side here real quick so that I can show this neighborhood coming up, and then I realize I need to actually get over here. So I apologize for the back and forth.
Entire blocks and blocks.
And the Mantong just past
Scorched.
Olo. And then Kuaula Road right here. I actually sold a house on Wahine Street up there, just on the right hand side. And then here we come, just past Shaw Street, come behind a preschool, gone. Lahaina Mission, that's the one you see all the people with the picture of on fire. little cluster of survivors right there. That's great. Must be like a metal roof or something, or tile roof. Hale Cemetery, Hale Aloha Cemetery, I mean.
Terrible. And this is from 5 hours ago. Aerial shot. At least it was uploaded 5 hours ago. I don't know exactly when it was shot. And this, according to the New York Times Post today, says here on Twitter from the New York Post or the New York Times. And West Maui had been warned, therefore, that it was at high risk for wildfires. And this is footage from posted yesterday. We have not seen this footage here. So much is just gone. And as I say, 80 people now. Officially, that's the death toll, 80. Expected to increase, though, over time. We showed you this footage yesterday of people jumping into the water to get away from the fire, and you can see the embers in the air flying past the camera. See those embers? That's why that wind is so much of a problem. It really contributes to the spread of the fire. And more footage. This one posted almost a day ago now.
Wow.
Rebuilding. It's going to take time and a lot of money. And that death toll is expected to rise. I know there have been a lot of people posting on social media with much higher numbers, but I caution everyone to take all of that with a big dose of caution. The authorities there saying that they have a death toll now of 80. I've seen posts online suggesting that as many as 1,000 people have died, but I have not seen any confirmation of that or any number even approaching that at this point. Not to say that we won't experience or see more, and we know the number is likely, and I don't think there's any doubt the number is going to increase, but I think we have to stick with facts, and I think the best course at this point is to just take it all with a grain of salt, take it all with caution, and let's see where things end up at the end. Here's the vice president, as much as it pains me to play the clip, but here we go.
Do you have any plans to go to Hawaii for any of the wildfire damage?
We're monitoring it. You know, we want to obviously, as with most of these kinds of situations, do whatever is in the best interest of the folks on the ground, and we don't want to distract from the resources that need to go into the victims of this tragedy, and of course the needs that the first responders have to be able to focus on that issue and not worry about focusing on us if we're there. So that's always something that we monitor and balance out. But I'll keep you posted.
And here's President Biden
Lives in Maui,
addressing
Hawaii.
it.
Before I begin, I want to say a word about the devastating wildfires that have claimed at least 36 lives in Maui and Hawaii.
This is old.
We have just approved a major disaster declaration for Hawaii, which will get aid into the hands of the people desperately needing help now. They've lost, anyone who's lost a loved one whose home has been damaged or destroyed is going to get help immediately. And I've directed that we surge support to these brave firefighters and first responders and emergency personnel working around the clock there, risking their lives. I just got off the phone before I got here for a long conversation with Governor Josh Green this morning. Let him know I'm going to make sure the state has everything it needs from the federal government to recover. The FEMA Administrator Griswold will be in Miami tomorrow and Maui tomorrow, and I've directed her to streamline any process with requests for help and survivors registered for immediate federal assistance without delay. FEMA is surging disaster assistance personnel on the island, and they're going to help survivors get access to federal assistance. And you know, anybody who wants to know out there where to go if this is televised, that they can go to disasterassistance.gov, disasterassistance.gov, to learn if you're eligible for assistance. And I've ordered all available federal assets on the island, including the U.S. Coast Guard, the Navy Third Fleet, and the U.S. Army, to assist local emergency response crews along with the Hawaiian National Guard. We're working as quickly as possible to fight these fires and evacuate residents and tourists. In the meantime, our prayers with the people of Hawaii, but not just our prayers. Every asset we have will be available to them, and they've seen their homes, their business destroyed, and some have lost loved ones, and it's not over yet.
So that is the situation in Hawaii tonight. And here is that website that he mentioned, disasterassistance.gov. I will show you. So if you happen to be watching in Hawaii tonight, or if you know someone who is in need of assistance, this is where the president is suggesting people go, directing people in need to this website, disasterassistance.gov, where you can, I guess you can log in here and find assistance and apply for assistance online. Hopefully people in this disaster area can still get access to the internet to do this, but I'm sure that as emergency responders do their work there, they will provide assistance in this regard for people in need. You can scroll down and you can see from this map actually where disasters are currently declared. And you can see that these blue areas are highlighted, and Hawaii is one of those areas. So this is where you go. And I hope that is helpful in at least some way tonight. That's the situation in Hawaii. Let's take another break. When we come back, more of today's top stories.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
And I'm back. So, Hunter Biden, his legal problems are throwing something of a monkey wrench into the 2024 election. The Attorney General's appointment of special counsel in the Hunter Biden probe has created kind of a new headache for the reelection campaign of Joe Biden, who we just heard from there at the podium. He was trying to get through a few words without stumbling. And this is distracting from his message, to say the least, and potentially drawing attention away from what he's doing and his reelection bid. It's like Trump and Biden both have these legal problems. Trump's much bigger, I would say, but on both sides, they now have to wrestle with these legal hurdles as they try to run in Biden's case, or well, in both cases, reelection campaigns. So we shall see. Biden's campaign team and his political allies are concerned that Republicans are going to exploit Hunter Biden's legal woes in the same way that Hillary Clinton's email server controversy back in 2016 became an election issue. And we saw what Donald Trump and his campaign team did with that, and the whole lock her up, that effort, for whatever you want to call that plank in the campaign, that did a number on her. So some on the DNC side see Hunter Biden's problems as a potential catalyst for a repeat of that kind of campaign against Biden. I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same as that. It's got a different feel to me, even though the DNC operatives over there seem to feel like it's going to be a repeat performance. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not even sure if it's going to get the kind of traction that some people are suggesting here. Just seems to me that the Biden family has special status on the legal side. So if I were on the DNC team, I wouldn't worry too much about this stuff. It hasn't hurt Biden so far. It seems like people politically just seem to have blinders on. It doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you're looking at. I think today, very few people actually want truth. Most people just want confirmation. They just want to feel like the things they have chosen to believe in are true. And so they look for confirmation through media reports. And they just want to feel good about whatever side they're on. So they, I think, do a lot of cheerleading for whoever they're supporting. And that's why I'm actually grateful to you guys for being here every night, because I know that, the majority of our viewers really do seek truth, not just confirmation. 2 weeks ago, Hunter Biden's legal saga seemed to be nearing a finish line. He was preparing to accept that plea deal, as you may recall, over tax charges that would have spared him any jail time. an outcome that would have allowed his father's campaign to argue that the issue had been fairly dealt with and that everyone could just move on. But then that deal with the prosecutors fell apart under questioning by the judge who was overseeing the case. And that set off a chain of events that culminated in Friday's announcement from Attorney General Merrick Garland that the prosecution of Hunter Biden was continuing. So now we're at a point where there's no end in sight. It's going to drag on and maybe right into the thick of the election campaign. So this development makes it tougher for Democrats to capitalize on Trump's, I think, more pronounced legal problems. A renewed investigation into Hunter Biden's business dealings, depending on what it uncovers, could harm Joe Biden's public image as someone who had avoided scandal through a career in politics that stretches back more than 50 years. And I wouldn't even say maybe avoided is the right word, but was able to deflect scandals effectively, as so many on the DNC side who are supported by the DNC machine have been able to do. The Clintons come to mind most prominently in that regard. Biden has already proclaimed that his son, Hunter, has done nothing wrong. He continues to double, triple, quadruple, quintuple down on that claim. And we'll see if that holds up over time as the special counsel, David Weiss, files new charges that result in a criminal trial. So keep an eye on all of this. Far from over. But is it real or is it political theater? Time will tell. We've seen so much political theater over the last, how many years now? I can't even count. That I don't have a lot of optimism. Moving along, Poland has moved troops to Belarus on the border there because Wagner fighters are positioned there as well. So in the aftermath of that, whatever that thing was that was going on, some people were describing that as an attempted coup or whatever. It obviously didn't result in anything like that in the end. But the Wagner troops, just a hired military group that Russia utilizes, their position now along that border, I guess, in Belarus. And so Poland is positioning another 10,000 troops to its border with Belarus. Another sign of unease and escalation. So, again, some people described what the Wagner group was doing there a few weeks ago as a mutiny as they made their way toward Moscow, led by the Wagner group chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. But in the end, whatever it was resolved, and now those Wagner forces are repositioned and back ready to, I guess, take on NATO forces. So that's the development there, and we'll continue to keep a close eye on all of that. The other thing that we are trying to keep a close eye on, and the man who's actually keeping a very close eye on it because he's right there on the ground, is Kevin Michelizzi, who is over in Crimea. And tonight we have this report from Kevin where he is telling us that there has now been a third attack on that bridge in Crimea. So we'll go to his report. But apparently this attack was I think you can declare it as unsuccessful, but I'll let Kevin explain because he is the man who is there and he has a special guest with him. And here we go.
Is from about, this is the latest news. This picture is from about 3:00 p.m. this afternoon. This is from a Western news source. And these are pictures of the Crimea Bridge. And I'll let Chris speak in a minute on this. But according to this news source in the United States, the Ukrainians blew up the bridge again. So,
yeah, right.
so I can tell you all for sure that the bridge was not blown up today. Yep. Ukraine did make a strike at it at about 3:00. Traffic was stopped while the strikes were going on. The smoke on the bridge that you see here is actually the air defenses took down S-200 missile systems. They're an anti-aircraft defense system that is early Soviet Union. The S-200s are very old. They converted them to strike missiles, and they were all taken down by air defenses. So the bridge was closed for about an hour to prevent anyone from being hurt, and and then traffic opened back up and things went on. So that's a bit of propaganda from the United States. If you start hearing this in the news today, it is not true. So there was an attempt made, which will also bring us a greeting from Arkady from Israel. Arkady is actually at a protest tonight in Israel and will be sending us a video update on that. He's going to be in Israel about another 12 days, but here's a video for y'all from Arkady.
Hi, Kevin, and our dear viewers. I know that the ugly hand of censorship struck again against Jeff Norman and against Scott Reeder. This is just a reminder to us of where we live and who we're dealing with. I talked to different people about the censorship in America here in Israel, and they're very well aware of what we're dealing with because they travel to America, they travel for business, for leisure, and they know how you need to keep your mouth shut, and they very much appreciate the fact that they can say pretty much whatever they want here. They can disagree, they can argue, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to be fired, you're not going to be unfriended, you're not going to be canceled, and this is so important. As many of the famous bloggers and philosophers say, the ability to express yourself without worrying about consequences is huge. It might be one of the most important part of life, and it's one of the most important signs that you are alive. And it's just unfortunate that the country that calls itself the most free country in the world does not protect the most important freedom in the world. People put hours and hours and hours and days and years of building something, of getting out an important message, of building audience that loves them, that cares about them, that's loyal to them, and then boom. We need to remember who we're dealing with, who we're against. And this is just another reminder, as if we didn't know.
So that's our weekly update from Arkady. Yes, Jay, it's a shame what's happened to Scott's channel on YouTube. Actually, they took down Jeff Norman's U.S. Tour of Duty, which is where Ask the Inspector Lightning Round, and their Sunday show. I even forget the name of it. I was on it. I should remember it. Scenes from the Evolution. They also took down Scott's Scott Ritter Show channel, which was the one produced out of Russia. Scott has been active on Twitter last night and today, talking about anyone who has him on their show will end up being taken down. Scott's a good friend, and I support him fully. I don't disagree with a lot of what he says. I do disagree with some of the things. Some of you have actually seen me on his show disagreeing with him. And, it's, they probably will start striking channels where Scott makes regular appearances. I do know that several of the channels that have had him are starting to shy away. I know we had an invitation for one channel this week that has canceled on him for fear of being taken down. I'll say this. I think somebody has Scott on, they will be taken down, is not necessarily going to be because of having Scott on the channel. I think it's going to be the anti-U.S. government message. So the anti-Ukraine, anti-government message, as you all know, we don't go there. But those of you who want to find Scott, he's still on Rumble. He's still on Twitch, which we're streaming on as of tonight as well. We're on YouTube. If we get struck for some reason, because I've joined a network that Maverick News, myself, and some other channels are forming to restream each other's content. So you can actually find Maverick News on the American Crimea YouTube channel, and on Rumble, and on Twitch, and on Boosty. And, if you need to know where to find us, if we disappear, it's, down here, americancrimea.site. The independents under Maverick News is taking some steps to try to remove ourselves from the censorship of the West. Those of you who are not aware, you can watch my show from last week. We had Rick Walker from Maverick News on. Canada has actually passed the C-18 law, which says that no news can be on social media without paying to be there. And so companies like Facebook, YouTube, they're all required to collect money from news services. So they're all closing stuff down over there. So they have, I spoke to Rick and Lori Spencer earlier this morning. They can no longer be seen in Canada. The only thing that can really be seen anymore is the mainstream media that Canada controls. The news services are asking people to download their apps, but it's only the mainstream services that can afford these things. They now have an app. We haven't researched who owns that app, but it has all of the mainstream media on it in Canada now. So if you know Canadians, or we have any Canadians watching this show, we'll be setting you up with a deal on VPN so that you can actually stream these services in Canada while not being there, so to say. So this network of people is putting some things together. You will also find myself and Tim Kirby's other admins will start streaming things and doing articles on Tim Kirby's channel. Tim is probably going to rebrand Tim Kirby Russia Hardcore to something else. He wants to have like a Judge Napolitano format where different people come in to his channel and they get disseminated out to whatever they're looking for. You know, Judge Knapp, you go from Scott Ritter to Judge Knapp. You might go to Larry Johnson if you want former CIA information, or Douglas McGregor if you want, you know, the former military man information. And so he wants something like that. So I've suggested to him that he rename the channel Judge Kirbyano. So, but keep an eye here. You can still catch Maverick News here. Their 1 week suspension lifts this weekend. We will continue streaming them though. You know, look on my Substack if you need more information about where we stream, and there will be more information there on my other channel. If you go here, you will find more information in the coming few weeks about what we're doing to bypass the censorship. It does mean that monetized channels like Scott Ritter's will not make money off of their streaming. So keep this in mind. Lots of us, much like our channel, have to rely on donations from viewers to stay in business. It costs us money to run a studio. The streaming software we have costs us a good chunk of money. You know, utilities. My internet is not cheap here in Crimea because you cannot stream from Crimea. I actually pay for a custom internet line from St. Petersburg. Cost me a fortune to have it run, but my friends convinced you know, the internet company to run it for us. But these things to bring you independent news actually costs considerable money. So we appreciate donations. Again, Jay and Timothy, thank you. June, thank you. I know June's lurking out there as well. And Mr. A will watch this later. I'm hoping Kyle, who has been pinging me in Telegram lately, he's at work right now, but his wife is looking at a Crimean move as well. So I recommended they watch Peter and follow him here. And yes.
Kevin, I don't know if people here were aware how we met. We were both mods on Tim Kirby's Telegram channel.
Yes. So we were both admins on Tim's channel. Peter threw up a flag asking for help on Mike Jones's channel as well. And so things are just kind of growing there. So all of these guys have been taken down in the last couple of weeks. And I think you're going to see more coming down shortly. So, yes, thank you, Chantel. I know you don't have to worry about it. So we appreciate our viewers. Just know that everybody that you get independent news from now is going to be having to move to situations like this.
Kevin Michelizzi, and you can find Kevin here now, and also on his YouTube channel while it lasts, American in Crimea. So you can subscribe to him on his YouTube channel, and I believe he's over on Rumble and now on Twitch as well. So you can find him there. Make sure you subscribe to him on those alternative platforms, the freer platforms, and also subscribe to our channel over on Rumble. We have 2 channels on Rumble, actually. Subscribe to them both, and you'll really be helping us out. It's imperative that we build over there. and reduce or eliminate our reliance on these other regular, I would call them censorship platforms. Thank you, Kevin, for providing that report for us tonight and for the kind words. And yes, folks, we need your support now more than ever. Now, I do need to thank PDS and David Doyle and Shesko for your donations through the Rumble Rants yesterday on Rumble. Truly, truly appreciate the support. I can't tell you how much it means because there are so many people out there right now who are expressing their need for donations. Everybody is asking for support, it seems, and I totally understand that. Whether it's somebody involved in the, the Freedom Convoy who needs money for legal bills to cover legal bills, or who knows? There's just so many people asking for different things. Rebel News always out there trying to raise funds and generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations. Well, we're just trying to make it day to day here, and we still need more money to cover the cost of recharging the phone system, which costs us money every month. We pay for that by the minute, and that helps give you guys a voice because then you can call into the show and express your opinion and help push stories forward in a positive and constructive and informative way. So now more than ever, though, we need your support because of the censorship that's going on, because it's going to take a lot to set up this new network that we are building in conjunction with other independent journalists. So support us now. And Kim RS is saying, has he been vetted? I don't know do I know? Are you talking about Kevin? I know who Kevin is, yes. And I know his background, and he is an American. He has a lot of background in computer work. So he's certainly qualified to help us get all of this set up. But in any case, yeah. Pure Knight says censorship isn't as bad as you all are making out. No, it's worse. It's freaking worse. It is worse. You want me to show you how bad it is? I will show you. I don't know how much worse it could possibly get, honestly, Pure Knight. But let me just illustrate for you what level of censorship we are at here tonight. I will show you. All right, I'm going to show you the Maverick News Facebook page, which basically is no more. Here we go. To show you what we're dealing with, we posted nothing wrong, did nothing wrong, but then out of the blue 2 days ago, this is what the Maverick News Facebook page looks like now. Facebook has come in and they have taken down our banner image. They have deleted all of our content, everything ever posted from the beginning of that page. We can currently do nothing with it. It just says this page isn't available right now. This may be because of a technical error that we're working to get fixed. Try reloading the page. And when you reload the page, it just comes back exactly the same way. We're not able to post to it. For over a month, we were prevented from posting on Facebook, period. Anything. We weren't allowed to stream. And this is all a result of Bills C-11, C-18, and just censorship in general. So I don't know. And Pure Knight says, you use mainstream, Rick. I don't. Lori gets you banned, Rick. Her info, you stream it, you get banned. Think hard, Rick. Well, that I do understand what you're saying with regard to that, Pure Knight. I get it, but it's not just Lori. You know what gets us banned? If we talk about Donald Trump. Trump gets us banned. RFK Jr. gets us banned. Other information gets us banned as well, but those are the two main things that have resulted in bans here. If we talk about Donald Trump in any detail, and if we allow him to speak about certain subject matter, it gets us banned. If we speak about certain things in the arm, that gets us banned. And you want to know who honestly gets us banned? People in the freedom movement. That's who gets us banned. People in the freedom movement who call in to the show, some of whom have taken extreme positions or rogue positions and are so extreme in what they think that they push very hard over here to recruit people to join whatever side of the movement they think they're on, and to push this channel and try to mold it in some way, or to sabotage it and take it down because they don't seem to think I'm hardcore enough to be a true freedom fighter, because there's so much infighting within the freedom movement itself. So they call in here on the show, and honestly, I think some of them, well, I know that some of them call in and say things that are inflammatory to a degree that actually is designed to get this channel taken down. That happens repeatedly. I'm going to show you something else that has happened. Well, no, I won't. I guess maybe I shouldn't show it to you because it's so explicit, but I can only tell you that, I have some background in working with computers and digital technology myself, and that's part of what my company is about. And so when people try to hack into our systems, we have ways of tracing things back and determining where these things come from. Now, I've been able to trace IP addresses and other data to determine where some of these attacks have come from. And I'm not happy to report tonight that, in the past and in the present, some of those attacks can be traced directly back to people who I'm sure you're friendly with. So it's not just Lori. And it's not just the government, and it's not just Facebook. It's some people, even around me, who pretend to be my friend. But they're not. Because it's kind of twisted. And they know not what they do. And they're attacking the wrong guy for the wrong reasons, because they are misguided and do not understand what is really going on. And I can tell you that within the last 2 days, someone has put up a fake Facebook page with my picture on it and the name of one of my businesses on it and porn. And I've traced some of that stuff back too. And I know where some of that is coming from. So I hear what you're saying, man, but I know what I know, and I'm disappointed beyond belief. It leaves me feeling sick to my stomach, and it leaves me wondering who we can trust today, honestly, and who is genuine, and that just lends itself to making a low trust situation even worse right now, at a time when we need people around us that we know we can rely on and really trust to lead forward on a path that will take us to a productive and positive and peaceful place where people won't get hurt. No, Pure Night, I didn't make myself a target. No, I just stand for real honesty, truth, and integrity. And some people don't. I didn't make myself a target. I'm just true to my values. And some people don't like that because there are liars on all sides. And people just don't want to hear it. Like I said earlier, some people just want confirmation. They don't actually want truth. But over here, I will not bend and I will not compromise on that point. So if people are going to attack me, then fine. We'll have to deal with it. And we continue to deal with it. And you guys and the Maverick family, I'm just here trying to do right by you, to serve you the best that I can with the journalism, with the craft that I've been working through for 30 some years now. That's why I'm here. So support this or support whatever you want. We need your help. If you believe in what we're doing here, we are pursuing real truth, not just a truth. I'm not just here to confirm someone's bias. I'm trying to do the real work, the real heavy lifting, and bring you real information that doesn't just take you down some crazy path to a place where, things get nutty. Trying to keep you on firm ground and lead you to a real place, because you know what? That's how you win. Truth will set you free. But if you have people around you pretending to be leaders or pretending to have answers when they don't, or if they're just outright lying to you, that's not going to set you free. That just sets you up for failure. And that is the truth. You start pursuing a political objective or any other objective from a place of from a foundation of lies, then you're going to lose, man. You're going to lose. Enough of that. I'm not here to bellyache. It is what it is. It comes with the territory. Like it or not, that's the reality. So support us or don't. I hope you do. We need your help now more than ever, because we're getting hammered on all sides. From the government, from Facebook, from people who pretend to be our friends who are not. People who pretend to be your friend, but they're not. Proceed with caution. Things are not always what they appear to be. I will be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
In fact, Pure Knight, I love you. I think you're a good guy, and I'm glad that you're here and part of the family. But, you think back and you've said a few things yourself in the call-in portion of the show where I've had to kind of put the brakes on a little bit, as you recall, because some of the stuff you've said yourself almost got us banned. Some of the stuff you've said took us to a place where we could have been banned. So before you start throwing rocks at Lori or anybody else around here, look in the mirror. But I do appreciate you coming here, and you've been knighted. So always use your knightly powers for good and never for evil. I appreciate you though, man. I do. And I know what you're doing out there. And I know you want good things. But as I say, things are not always as simple as they may appear to be. And the censorship is worse and getting worse by the day. It will get much worse as we head into the next election cycle when it really ramps up and we actually get the nominees in place for that presidential election. I guarantee you the censorship is going to get worse. And nothing you've said is lost on me. I totally understand your perspective. I get it. I understand. And you've said I get duped. Don't be so sure. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to dip off YouTube here now, because we are going to start dealing with some subject matter that is a little bit racy, and I don't know, it potentially could get us banned as well. So we don't want to do that. I don't think YouTube actually has rules against what we're about to talk about, but they might. So before we get into it, we're going to jump off. I'm going to, let me get you the link to our Rumble channel. I'll put it in the chat. It is also in the description for on YouTube, Facebook, all the other platforms. So you can find this link to tonight's broadcast over on Rumble. So we're going to jump off here. And if you want to continue watching the program, you're going to have to go over to Rumble to continue to watch this evening. Sorry for the inconvenience, but that is where we have to go. Thank you, everybody, for understanding that is the new reality today. So, so that is what we are going to do here in just a moment. I'll give it a little more time here for people to find that link. I'll post it again here in the chat. And, you know, I should do the same thing over on the other multi-streams. Hang on a second. Yes. So I'll come over here and put this in the comments section as well, because we do have a lot of people watching on the multi-stream here tonight as well. And I know you probably don't know what I mean by the multi-stream, but because we're broadcasting on so many different platforms, I want to make sure everybody has access to that Rumble link. So that will take you to our Rumble channel. And we do have the chat over on Rumble, but it doesn't flow through our streaming software over here. So I will try to dip in from time to time just to see what's being said in the chat over there as well. So there we go. Okay, guys. So let's start popping off or dropping off, whatever. What's the term? We're just going to cut the feed basically to our YouTube channels, and you guys are going to have to go over to Rumble to continue to watch. So here we go. I'm sorry to see everybody on YouTube go, but this is the new reality, and we're going to have to do a lot more of this. What we're going to be talking about over there is the culture wars. We've got some other news as well, but the culture wars, that's the subject matter over there. And I've got some pretty spicy stuff to talk about that I've lined up for you. So adios, YouTube. Catch you on the flip side. Hang on a second. That one's gone. That feed is gone. And goodbye, YouTube. And here's the other YouTube feed. We are removing that as well. Love you, YouTube, but we just got to go. Bam. Gonzo. The other feeds, I think we're okay with this subject matter. I think we're okay with Facebook as well. So hopefully we lost a lot of viewers there. Hopefully they pick us up over on the other channel, and we are climbing in the numbers over there. There we go. Numbers are coming up. So people are following us over on Rumble. Thank you for that. We'll let people kind of find their way over there as we run these promos for you. We'll be right back. We just want to give people a little bit of time to get situated over on the other channels.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
You know what? You know what would solve all of our problems? Is if we could just exile those Knights of Malta.
Exile. The Knights of Malta. Maverick News. Join us. The world is watching.
Okay, so before we get into the culture war story that I want to talk about, or this report that I want to put together for you, let's just talk about orthopedic surgery delays in Canada. Let this sink in, my American friends who think that socialized, government-controlled healthcare is the answer to all of your aches and pains. We have a record backlog in wait times for surgery. The Canadian Orthopedic Association estimates in Canada tonight we have over 130,000 people waiting for an orthopedic operation. According to a March 2023 report by the Canadian Institute for Health Information, hospitals across Canada have been playing catch up since the early days of the pandemic, and during the first 31 months of the pandemic, 14% fewer surgeries were performed. There's been a big backlog. They canceled so many surgeries during the pandemic that it created this huge backlog. And of course, we also know that because of that, those policies that were in place at the time, some people waited so long that they died on waiting lists, and that is a fact. And so we are facing a real crisis within the healthcare system. And I know that if you even look at, just on a personal level, we have my mom on here talking about how long she had to wait, years, to get knee surgery done, knee replacement surgery done. And that was before the pandemic took effect. In fact, she had her second knee replaced just maybe a week before the pandemic hit. And then all of those cancellations started to pile up. And so I know that she has been waiting to get assistance with some other healthcare matters, and she is on a long waiting list to get that kind of stuff done as well. And even I needed some tests done, and I had to wait months for that to happen. It's not a good situation. So a record 130,000 people. And I don't know, on the US side, that might not seem like a lot, but keep in mind that the population of the United States is more than 10 times larger than what we have in Canada. So where we have about 37, 38, maybe 39 million people total in the country, you have well over, like, you're pushing 400 million total population. So the numbers might not seem that large to you in that, but when you put it in context on a per capita basis, or you look at how many people in a particular community, the percentage and so on, it is a really bad situation. And it is so bad that a lot of Canadians, according to these reports, are now putting themselves in a position where they're facing such long wait times that they are leaving the country to seek care elsewhere. And most of them are going to the United States to get that care. And that is information released through various healthcare agencies here in the country, most of whom advocate for a socialized healthcare system. While they're reporting that the system has become inadequate, it is not adequately funded, and that there are systemic problems that lend themselves to or exacerbate inefficiencies that result in exactly these kinds of problems. And these kinds of delays are not unusual. They've been baked into the system for decades. I can go back to the 80s and the 90s as a younger journalist and tell you that I was covering stories in this same vein even back then. A whole series of reports that I did back in those days about wait times for heart surgery, interviewing people who were on waiting lists, many of whom actually ended up dying while they waited for heart operations. And that was decades ago. And the problem today, in various areas of the healthcare system, is, I think, even worse, as you're seeing from this report tonight. Take note, my American friends. Take note. Now, another thing that is going to lead us into this conversation on the culture wars is this. I don't know if you've seen this. This is Oliver Anthony. Okay. He's a musician who unexpectedly shot to the top of the charts online with this very cool song. What's it called? Rich Men North of Richmond or something? Let me just bring it up here. Rich Men. I don't know if you've seen it. It's an awesome song. And I would say that this song really highlights the class war, the war, and also the culture war. But he's captured the essence of the moment, the essence of our time right now in this song. Where did we go here? Here it is here. I've got him here. Rich Men North of Richmond. That's the name of the song. Let me play just a little bit of it for you. It's an awesome tune. Truly awesome tune. And you know what we're going to have to do, folks? If you're watching on Facebook, we're going to drop Facebook as well, because we are going to get hammered for playing this on Facebook. They will censor this as well. So I'm sorry, but if you are on Facebook right now, you will need to move over to Rumble to continue watching us. I'm very sorry about this, but this content will get us in trouble over on Facebook. So goodbye, Facebook. And goodbye to this Facebook as well. And I think there's one more over here. Yes. Okay, so we're removing Facebook as well. Goodbye, Facebook. Sorry about that. So hopefully people are following us over to the Rumble channel tonight. And here's this song, Rich Men North of Richmond. Check it out. Wickedly good.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. Cause the rich men, cause the rich men. I wish politicians look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge round. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. Cause the rich men, north of rich men. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Wow. It's powerful, emotional. You know you got a hit when the song kind of makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck. You get like a tingling sensation down your spine. That has gone viral. The song itself, I guess, is shot to the top of the charts, #1 online, and unexpected. This artist is expressing his gratitude tonight for the support that he's enjoying right now, but humble. Here's his response online. Listen to what he has to say and how he has to say it. This guy, in my estimation, this could not have happened to a nicer fella. Listen to this. Oh, hang on. I think I got the wrong one. Here we go. There we go. Oh, hang on.
Somebody just sent me
I
a
hate it when it doesn't
screenshot
pop
that
up.
Richmond.
Okay, there we go.
Y'all are crazy. Somebody just sent me a screenshot that Richmond, north of Richmond, is #1 on iTunes, and I don't even have words. I don't even know. So everybody's been asking me about shows. I've got one kind of last minute set up in Eastern North Carolina, Currituck, North Carolina, this coming Sunday, August 13th, at the Morris Farm Market. So that's the Morris Farm Market, Currituck, North Carolina, August 13th. I'm playing from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. and I will stay until 2:30 a.m. if I have to. But I promise, if you show up, if you're willing to come and listen to me, I am willing to stay and listen to you. I'm going to shake your hand. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your story. And if you're more than a few hours away from Currituck, don't sweat it. Like, don't make this into a big trip. There's no rush with this. Like, I'm going to be playing a lot of shows, a lot of local venues. I'm going to take my time with things. Like, I want to get to know all of you. This is not about me. This is about you. And I can't emphasize that enough. And so it's going to take it. Things are going to be slow. Like, the social media is going to be a little bit slow. Like, things aren't going to just happen overnight, because I'm not rushing into this. Like, I'm not rushing into a bunch of paperwork. This isn't about me at all. So, thank you for your patience. Like, thanks for not just totally jumping down my throat. Like, I saw a lot of comments saying, get this on Spotify and iTunes. And I'm like freaking out trying to make it happen. And, you guys and girls are awesome. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. And if you're around Currituck, North Carolina, I'll see you on Sunday. We'll have a good old time. All right. Keep sending those emails and those messages. They're not unheard. Even if they are unresponded to for now, that'll change. So I love hearing from you. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
This is a great story in itself, just the way he is shot to instant fame after probably 20 years or something. An overnight success in 20 years. I don't know how long he's been trying to make a living as a musician, but man, he's got talent. You could feel the emotion in what he was doing there. And when I listened to it, it really drove home the point for me that what we are dealing with in this new kind of war that we are trying to navigate our way through it's in large part a class war. The elites versus the common people. It's also a culture war. We're seeing that every day, even on the streets with protests. We're seeing that with, the Save the Children movement. We're seeing it with what's going on in our schools. We're seeing it on our television screens, in our movies with Barbie and Oppenheimer and Glee, Game of Thrones. It's everywhere. James Bond, cancel culture. It's disturbing. It's frustrating. I don't even want to go to the movies anymore, so I tend to watch a lot of older stuff because I'm getting old, I guess. But it made me realize, that the culture war is it's rampant. It's everywhere, and it's not new. Um, that song is, it's like there's that age-old question: does art influence society, or does society influence the art? I've always believed it's a combination of things, but this song in particular captured for me this moment in time that we are in right now, at least from the perspective of the common man, the common person. And that's really at the heart of a lot of what we're dealing with today, right? But where did our problems come from? Well, I would suggest to you that it started a long time ago. I came across this just popped up in my feed somehow, or last night while I was up worrying about the state of the world, not able to sleep. And this movie trailer, I clicked on. There was, you know what it was? It was on my I have a Facebook page that deals with retro movies and television shows, and I post stuff on there sometimes, and then people post other stuff in a group, and so one thing led to another, and it led me to this trailer for an old movie, and it just said, it took me down this path today that I'm sharing with you, and it's funny in a way, and yet oh so serious. Shock Corridor. It's a movie from 1963. This is a movie that was directed by Samuel Fuller, who was known back in his day for producing a lot of, low budget movies. And the thing that really kind of got my attention here with this trailer today was that the main character is a reporter who's trying to pursue a Pulitzer Prize, and that got my attention. But then when I watched it, I realized that this movie from like the 1960s, it really deals with all these social issues and these kind of depraved, twisted things that people are all about on the inside, and human sexuality. And it made me realize that everybody wants to go back to the good old days, the happy days, Laverne and Shirley, crispy, clean kind of television era that we all sort of remember from our childhood. But even back then, and even before then, in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s, you can go back in time as far as you want, and you're going to find kind of a seedy underbelly to society, which made me realize that, who we really have to blame for today's problems? Our damn grandparents. Yeah. Well, in my case, it might still be my parents, because they were, in 1963, I didn't exist yet. But they did. My son, though, he can blame his grandparents for today's problems. And let me just play you this part of this trailer. I'm going to stop it from time to time as we go along, just to kind of comment, to sort of make my point here. And you're going to laugh and cry and cringe at the same time. Now, it's a little bit racy, but pretty tame, I guess, by today's standards. So let's get it up on the screen. This is Shock Corridor, 1963.
The motion picture screen opens the door to sights you've never seen before. Shock Corridor. The medical jungle doctors don't talk about. A labyrinth of twisted detours that both sexes stumble along. Case history number 1. Johnny B., brilliant newspaper reporter, suffering from hallucinations that his sweetheart is his sister.
Don't ever do that. Don't you ever kiss me like that again.
What's the matter? What is it, Johnny? Tell me.
You're exciting the other patients by shouting.
Johnny! Johnny, what did you mean? Johnny!
Diagnosis, erotic dementia.
Forgive me for saying it, Miss Barrett, but there's something very strange about this case.
Case history number 2. Kathy B., stripteaser, young, intelligent, beautiful.
You think I like singing in that sewer with a hot light on my navel? I'm doing it because it pays more than shorthand or clerking or typing.
I know that. Kathy's torrid performances, however, reveal her avid reaction to the excitement of male audiences. Diagnosis, manic sensualist. Case history number 3, Robert T., a lone Negro student who stepped out of a white university into a straitjacket.
Run, Schmidt, run! Run, run, run!
Diagnosis, acute schizophrenia.
Don't you dare strike me. I'm pregnant.
Shock Corridor, the incredibly realistic story that reveals the strange intrigues, the criminal impulses, the obsessions that explode into violence.
Because I want her and nobody's going to keep us back. I want her.
Then there was a day Johnny was trapped in the ward of love-maddened women.
He's mine. He's mine.
Oh my God. Whoa. Okay, let's run it bit by bit. We'll stop it, and I'm going to analyze this. Oh my
The
God.
motion picture screen opens the door to sights you've never seen before.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Saturday Night at the Movies, the soft porn edition. Oh, this is like, oh my God, look at these guys running down the hall. They all got out of their cells.
Jungle doctors don't
It's a melee.
A labyrinth of twisted detours that both sexes stumble along.
Both sexes stumble along. There's just such, it's all cloaked in sexuality.
Case history number 1. Johnny B., brilliant newspaper reporter.
See, that could be me, right? Any day now, they might commit me to the psych ward because the stories I've been covering on the UFOs and all the other crazy crap is driving me over the edge.
Suffering from hallucinations that his sweetheart is his sister.
Don't ever do that. Don't you ever kiss me like that again.
What's the matter? What is it, Johnny? Tell me.
You're exciting the other patients by
See,
shouting.
Johnny, what did you mean? Johnny?
Diagnosis, erotic dementia.
oh my God, erotic dementia. See, this in 1963, what they're doing here is they're dealing with this whole idea of like incest in a roundabout kind of a way, and they've approached this taboo subject in a way that so that they can kind of get it out there without actually getting it out there. Today, if that was today, that's where it all started, though, man. Blame your grandparents, because this movie in 1963 laid the foundation for what we have today. Because if this happens, you know what? Today, that wouldn't be his girlfriend. It wouldn't be his girlfriend, and he's imagining that it's his sister. It would probably just be his sister, and it would be an actual porn movie, and they would just go for it. Oh, man. Erotic dementia.
Forgive me for saying it, Miss Barrett, but there's something very strange about this case.
And I'll prove it to you, too. I'll prove that point.
Case history number 2, Kathy B. Stripteaser, young, intelligent, beautiful.
Do you think I like singing in that sewer with a hot light on my navel?
Yes, I do. Oh, God.
I'm doing it because it pays more than shorthand or clerking or typing.
I know that. Kathy's toured
Yeah, he knows, but he's such a cuck.
performances, however, reveal her avid reaction to the excitement of male audiences. Diagnosis: manic sensualist.
Just can't help herself.
Case history number 3, Robert T. A lone Negro student who stepped out of a white university into a straitjacket.
Run, Swift, run! Run, run, run!
Diagnosis: acute schizophrenia.
Okay, now this is racism on full display here because everybody else has these weird sexual disorders, but what does he get? Because he's black, he gets a normal mental illness, schizophrenia. It's just not fair.
Don't you dare strike me. I'm pregnant.
You see, I told you. 1963. This is where they started to normalize the whole thing, where you could just identify as anything you want, and if men can get pregnant. 1963. Blame your grandparents. Okay? Now when they say it, it's like, it's not weird. You don't end up in the psych ward. You're rewarded, and you get, like, I don't know, an advertising contract with a beer company.
Shock Corridor, the incredibly realistic story that reveals the strange intrigues, the criminal impulses.
Oh, he
the
stabbed him right in the
obsessions
heart,
that
in
explode
the back.
in the violence.
Because I want her and nobody's going to keep us apart. I want
Then there was a day Johnny was trapped in the ward of love-maddened women.
This is the best part. This is the best part, man. Like, look at the looks on their faces. look at these women. You know what? I've had this problem myself. I have, and I'm not bragging. I'm just being honest.
He's mine. He's mine. He's mine.
Oh man. Is that hot or what? Oh God. Oh, what a lucky guy. Not maybe. You're going to the prom with me. No, with me. He's mine. Where I want him to go to the prom with me. The psych ward prom. They were all jumping his bones. Da, 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 da. See, man? You see the depravity? The twisted, dirty, underbelly, seedy nature of that film? Blame your grandparents. All that stuff today, it's all out there. That forms the basis of our culture wars. That guy thought he was pregnant. Maybe he was. Who am I to second guess? Might have actually given birth in the psych ward. Just saying. Blame your grandparents. And you know, from that, where do we get today? We get we get to a place where our prime minister in Canada has taken, one of the leading roles in destroying the nuclear family. This is just going to run a clip of this report from, I just got to remember this guy's name. Dix from Press for Truth. So let me run a little bit of this for you. In fact, I'm going to run the whole darn thing. Why the heck not? Because it's actually a great report. And it kind of illustrates how the culture war has taken on, well, it's happening at an accelerated pace, and how the assault on the family is happening. And it's very political. And it's a lot of it because of, our prime minister, who as a result has now fallen victim to this culture war, this war on the family, a war that he himself has not only initiated, but perpetuated. Justin Trudeau's efforts have come home to roost, so to speak. Here's, well, you just check it out. You'll see what I mean. And just remember, blame your grandparents. Where are we here? Here we go. Come on, play for me. Here we go.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you here today with some breaking news. Or should I say breaking up news? As Justin Trudeau just announced on his Instagram account that he's breaking up with his wife Sophie after 18 years of marriage. Hi everyone. Sophie and I would like to share the fact that after many meaningful and difficult conversations, we have made the decision to separate. As always, we remain a close family with deep love and respect for each other and for everything we have built and will continue to build. For the well-being of our children, we ask that you respect our and their privacy. Thank you. Now, let me first say that this is not the kind of news that one should relish in. Have you ever heard of Schadenfreude?
No, I do not know what Schadenfreude is. Please tell me, because I'm dying to know.
It's a word from the 18th century that refers to the experience of pleasure, joy, or self-satisfaction that comes from learning or witnessing the troubles, failures, or humiliation of another. It's not cool, so please, let's not sink to that level. And let's especially not forget that the family unit is the most important governmental institution there is. The left have made it their mission to destroy the family unit, and Justin Trudeau has played a huge role in that. So this is not a good thing, nor is any failed marriage. But considering he is the Prime Minister of Canada, it's important to note that a house divided among itself cannot stand. Or in other words, if he can't even keep his family together, what makes anyone think he should be the guy to keep this country together? So this has got me thinking, what on earth could have gotten Sophie Trudeau to break up with her husband of 18 years? At first, I thought it was all the gay pride and LGBTQ stuff that he pushes on children. I mean, there's just way too many clips like this. I confronted Justin Trudeau on the fact that he brings his own children to pride parades so they can view gay naked men. Justin, is it responsible to have children here with you, sir? Justin, you have children here with you, sir. Is that responsible?
That's enough. That's good. Okay, thanks.
Justin, you're marching with children.
I'm getting thrilled and
All right.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks for your cooperation.
But you may have noticed his wife, Sophie, is right there with him the whole time. On Instagram, she recently posted, "Love is love is love." To all of you who are marching in Toronto's Pride Parade today, and to everyone celebrating across the country this summer, happy Pride. I will always cherish the memories we've made at parades like this one in Toronto in 2017. And I will always have your back be your ally and stand with you. Dear friends, let's make sure Canada continues to be a place where everyone can be who they are and love whom they love. Okay, so that's not it. Maybe it's from groping women in public who throw themselves at him. I mean, she's not the kind of woman who would let him grope her in public, is she?
Thank you, baby. I should really continue with my speech now.
Don't go yet, my love.
Awkward. Maybe it's because Justin himself might be gay. I mean, who wouldn't want the love of their life to look at them like how Justin Trudeau looks at Emmanuel Macron or Bill Marneau? But then I remembered, wait a minute, she encouraged him to kiss a man on national television after he called him handsome.
Because you're very handsome.
Thank you, Justin.
Kiss him.
I think because...
Notice that creepy wink? So maybe it's something else. Did she take issue with the whole blackface face painting thing? I mean, that blew up with international and global outrage. Surely she's not into that type of thing, right? Oh, never mind. So I guess one can only speculate as to what caused their marriage to crumble, but it really doesn't come as much as a surprise to many. Body language experts would agree something has been off with the Trudeau family unit for quite some time. And let's not forget that Trudeau is following in his father's footsteps. The Trudeau divorce. Only other PM whose marriage ended in office is Pierre Trudeau. Justin Trudeau is the first prime minister to go through a separation while in office since Pierre Trudeau and Margaret Trudeau. He wrote about his struggles with marriage, and he talked about it candidly in this interview.
In your book on page 157, you write about your own marriage. Our marriage isn't perfect. We've had difficult ups and downs. Sophie remains my best friend and my partner. We are honest with each other, even when it hurts. People will ask, Mr. Trudeau, you said you've had difficult ups and downs.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is that coded language for something?
It means we've had a marriage that's gone on for 10 years in which I have a very difficult, high-pressure job that everyone knows how challenging it is to balance family responsibilities with a job that takes me across the country and working extremely hard. There are times when she hates my job and she hates me for loving my job.
She does hate your job.
Oh, yeah. There are times.
Right.
There are times when she understands how much of an opportunity and a responsibility it is for us to actually serve this country that has given us so much.
So it will be asked, is that coded language for extramarital affairs?
No. This is a conversation about the kinds of challenges that any real marriage goes through, tremendous ups and downs. But as I say, we are deeply in love and committed to each other, and we continue to be.
So as you can see, this has been going on for quite some time, and now it's ending in an eventual divorce. As the title of this video says, a house divided among itself cannot stand. And I want to remind you, we started this video with this one very important point, that the family unit is the most important institution that must be protected. Justin Trudeau just destroyed his own family. So let's not let him lead by example, because the sanctity of marriage is a sacred and a very blessed gift from God. So as the left and the very leader of Canada continue to try to destroy that, let's do the complete opposite by staying together, going forth and multiplying like the good Lord suggested. Because once again, as the Bible says, a house divided among itself cannot stand. So I just wanted to bring all of that to your attention today, guys. If you appreciate my...
There you go. So Let me just pull that down. Okay, so Justin Trudeau, at one of the leading voices in opposition to really a traditional family, while he tried to maintain his role as the father in something that was supposed to be a traditional family, but it's painfully obvious, especially after watching that report, that what was going on was a facade. I don't think Trudeau really had a traditional marriage. And now it has literally fallen apart. So how does that tie back into what we were seeing from 1963 in that movie? These issues have always been around. And you're seeing that they were kind of dealt with maybe a little bit differently back in the 1960s. But in the 60s, there was a lot going on back then, too. It was the era of free love. You were getting into the time of hippies and drugs, hallucinogenics, and a more liberal time, I guess. And at that time, you can go back and you can find all kinds of different studies and journalism from that time and in subsequent decades where they've looked back. There's been a lot of work done looking back at that era, the 1960s, saying that the fabric of society, Western society in particular, began to really decay around that time. And you can sort of see it in that movie, Shock Corridor, where they're highlighting that the director, Sam Fuller, is directing your attention to these sins, if you want to call them that, these elements of, I guess, the human psyche and human sexuality, but it's all cloaked in coded speak through the movie. And over time, we have seen sort of the normalization, the desensitization of these subjects through media, so that today, when I grew up in the 60s and 70s, mostly in the 70s and 80s, really, because I was born, in the mid 60s, but in the 70s, you think back to TV, and like I said before, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. Before that, in the 60s, shows like I Dream of Jeannie, and just any of those shows from that time. Leave It to Beaver. You go back to the 50s, right? Sort of a sanitized, squeaky clean kind of image for America. Media really promoting that traditional family for the general public. But where have we gone over time? I've seen just mainstream terrestrial television change dramatically over time. What we're seeing on television now, it was when I was a kid, you wouldn't ever hear the F word. If you used the F word at any time on television, it was a case for instant dismissal. You would lose your job. I know people who did lose their jobs in the news business because they were live on the air and accidentally let the F word slip out. And I saw people lose their jobs. There was a different kind of standard at that time. And yet underneath it all, there was always a current of sexuality and a different, all of the things that are kind of have risen to the surface. They were always there underneath. Now they're being exposed. So when I said that I would prove, for instance, that Today, if that movie was made, it probably wouldn't be the guy in the psych ward, the journalist in the psych ward, thinking that his girlfriend was his sister. They would just make a porn movie and he would just be kissing his sister. I'll prove it. One of the top, here's a story from, this is the New York Post, and I was aware of this information a long time ago. So I called this information up. Top search phrases for porn sites. And this goes back to 2021, but I don't think that the data has changed much in that time, not likely. And what do we know? We know that hentai is the #1 search. You know what hentai is? If you don't, it's basically Japanese animated pornography, adult content. Very popular with the university crowd, younger people and older people now too. Some of it's pretty, honestly, in my estimation, pretty twisted, where they have creatures with tentacles that are phallic in nature, and they get into really weird stuff. And how do I know this? I used to have video stores, and we used to. I was in London, and we had young people from the university coming in all the time, and we had the most eclectic collection of old movies in probably Southern Ontario. We had all kinds of art films, science fiction films, classic movies, you name it. We had everything in that shop. And the animation, I called it Japanaporn. I never quite got it, but it was very popular with the university kids. And #2 search lesbian, MILF #3, ebony #4. Now, see, there's another thing. Racism is something that if you can look up, just type in racism and porn, and a whole bunch of articles will come up dealing with, the culture war on that front. And if you want to know what people are really thinking about racism, you go read those articles, and it will tell you, I think, pretty much where people really are at with regard to racial issues and the racial divide in our society today. Because when it comes down to adult entertainment, it's just wide open and exposed, because people really do bare their souls, I think, when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so the performers, as you read these articles, complain that there's rampant racism within the adult entertainment or porn industry. And you can see that it's actually, things have really shifted though, right? Because now one of the most popular genres within the adult entertainment, that the porn industry, is interracial. Ebony #4. And yet I don't think that it's necessarily being dealt with in a healthy way through the porn industry, but it is a reflection, I think, of reality today. And you can dig into that more on your own. I don't think I want to go too much deeper into that aspect of this subject matter tonight, but you can see the 4th most popular search on porn sites, ebony, and Latina right after that. Again, a racial thing. And then threesome. And then, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th most popular search, BBC. If I have to tell you what BBC stands for, you have had your head in the sand. Oh, because, when you go that way, you never go back, they say, right? I'm just throwing out a quote. Once you go, you never go back. And there it is again, anime. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11th most popular. And that's pretty much in the same vein as hentai. And there it is right there, stepmom. And that's where that whole thing that I was talking about with the, the sister, that's one of the most popular genres today in the porn industry. And you can find a lot of articles talking about it. It's like plots dealing with like stepmoms and stepsisters, stepbrothers, and actual, very close to just straight up incest. So it's like 1963, they laid the foundation. Blame your grandparents. Today it's coming to a head. And these are the things that people are really fighting about in the streets too, right? And that guy in that trailer saying, he's pregnant. And where have we come now? We people actually are believing that. That guy was on the cover of the what was that guy's name? Oh, I'll find it for you. There it is right there. On pregnant transgender man on cover of Glamour magazine. I'll bring the shot up. Remember, we ran this a number of weeks ago. Logan Brown. Here it is. 1963. It's supposed to be shocking in 63. It's supposed to be, I think, maybe funny, but not. More shocking than funny in that movie. But it laid the foundation for everything to come. And now here we are in 2023. And Logan Brown is on the cover of Glamour magazine. It's supposed to be a transgender man. But of course, it's the opposite of what we saw in the movie because, of course, the world is upside down. So it's actually now a woman identifying as a man or who claims to be a man, but is a biological woman and therefore has become pregnant, but then says that she is a man who is pregnant and then being portrayed on the cover of a magazine in such a way that it's leading the public to believe that a man can get pregnant. Blame your grandparents. And man, I am so glad that I am not young anymore and in the dating game, because then you run into this stuff today where as a result of, so much has changed in the way that men and women interact in relationships that I think it's very difficult to navigate any of this stuff anymore. Here's this from Cal Mekris. I just in the last week, a few things from this person have popped up in my TikTok feed. Not that I'm on TikTok a lot, but came across this, and this illustrates what I'm talking about. The challenges in relationships. How do men and women come together anymore? And it's not just men and women.
I like you. Oh, hello. I like you too. We should hang out. I would like that very much. Let's hang out. You're so great. You are also so great. We should make this a thing. A what? A thing. Like I would be with you and you would be with me and we would just see each other, because we like each other and we think each other are great. I hear what you're saying. And no. Oh, you don't like me anymore? No, I do a lot and I depend on you a lot and you're a great person and I really like hanging out with you. Okay, but you don't want to be with me? No, but I want to hang out still, So you want to be with me, but you don't want to be with me? Yeah, like we're not exclusive, but like, No.
I just think it has to be so much more complicated today than it has ever been before. It was never easy for people to come together in any kind of relationship. It's never easy. And, when it's natural and it just people come together, they come together, I guess, right? There's the love at first sight, or people grow together, or whatever experience people have in their life is what they have. But the dynamics have certainly changed, and that's because of the pill, birth control. It's liberated women. It has allowed them to explore their sexuality in ways that they previously were not free to do. And as a result, it has changed the way that men and women interact. Technology has changed the way that uh, humans explore their sexuality. I had someone phone me just the other day, and I will remain nameless, who out of the blue sent me a message and said, Rick, I'm addicted to porn. And I'm like, why are you telling me? I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not, but for whatever reason, that's what they said to me. And, we had a little bit of a conversation online about it. And I encouraged the person to kind of go out and just get active in the community. And this person was complaining that they weren't able to get into a relationship because of their addiction to pornography. And I said, well, just make yourself busy and exercise some self-discipline. And if you're busy, then you won't have time for the porn. And then you'll make yourself more attractive to someone who might entertain the idea of getting into a relationship with you, because you'll become attractive, because you'll be a productive and well-rounded person, and you'll be out there active and meeting people. Kind of old school, get off the internet, but talking about being addicted to porn. And that is an example of how technology has changed the way that people interact with each other. So you have really the foundation for that, even in the earliest days of movies, television, the internet. You can go back and find really, really, really old films. You can go back and find really, really, really old films more and more and more exposure to adult content like that. And in 1963, it was shocking to see that kind of content portrayed in that low budget movie through that trailer. But man, have things changed since then? Everything is accelerated and amplified, and it's because of the technology. And the technology itself is changing the way people interact with each other. From the 1963 movie trailer to today, where young people of all ages really, are bombarded with pictures of adult women, or younger women, or just naked women, naked people, naked humans engaging in sexual acts. You can get it 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, nonstop. It's online. It's thrown at you. It's put in front of you. I have a Facebook feed, that is littered, honestly, sometimes with not so much nudity or anything like that, but women in bikinis posted by people that are on my friends list. And I've had thousands of people, but some of the stuff just pops up and there it is. And then over on Twitter, there's actual pornography that you can access right away. It's there all the time. For someone who's having difficulty engaging with another human being on a level of a relationship, it's a whole lot easier, I think, to just open an app on your phone or flip over to a website and explore your sexuality alone with somebody that's just in your head online. And you're seeing the popularity of porn sites explode. And that is that's the reality of it. I mean, it really is today. Everything has changed and the technology has changed. Artificial intelligence now. That is really, really going to change the way that people interact. But blame your grandparents, because it all started way back when with people like, in the 50s and the 60s, we had like Betty Page, right? Betty Page. Who remembers Betty Page? Everybody talks about Marilyn Monroe, but in reality, it was even more people like Betty Page. Here's her Wikipedia. Because Betty Page was a model who, in her day, engaged in or posed for a lot of photo shoots that involved, bondage, BDSM. I guess the more controversial, or how shall I put it, maybe the raunchier kinds of, or more honest kinds of adult entertainment. And again, this is, I warned you, this is adult kind of stuff, but this is old. So it's, you talk about going back to the good old days. This was the good old days. This stuff was out there. It was just kind of hidden more. Now it's more out in the open. And as a result of technology, medical changes on the medical front, the, birth control, people's relationships are changing a lot too, as a result of all of this. And that's why you're also seeing all this talk about children, because that same medical technology is coming to bear on how people are treating their children. And it isn't just the government, it's people. The way that they are approaching raising their kids. The technology has changed the way that people are dealing with their kids. Now, it's not entirely new. I recently watched a speech from a few months ago with Vladimir Putin, who is saying in the speech and warning the West that Russia has already been there in the past. And he goes back as far as about like 1917 to the 1920s, where he says that at that time, people on the extreme left of the political spectrum in Russia were experimenting socially with exactly the same kinds of gender bending ideologies that are present today in our society. And of course, if you look at Russia today, they've taken a much more conservative stance on these issues and the way that they want their society to develop and grow. So there's been a bit of a flip there, but it's more pronounced, more it's more prominent in our society today than I think it probably was even back then, because of surgeries and the use of hormone therapy and the technology, the medical technology that a lot of people are worried about, and the operations that some people characterize as mutilation. That's the way it's portrayed, right? That's the way that some people see it. Other people on the other side look at it another way. And that's what's got everybody upset today. Because those issues are being pushed on us front and center, thrust upon us. We're being forced to look at it. It's bubbled to the surface. Excuse me. And through time, over the decades, as I've taken note of this culture war and the way it has evolved, I've seen models, adult film stars over time who have gone through their careers and come out on the other side. And so many of them, in a public way, come out to speak with very negative reviews of what they went through, denouncing the adult film or the adult industry in many ways. If you look at, one of the most popular porn movies of all time, Deep Throat, with Linda Lovelace, she, here, I'll bring up her Wikipedia as well, just so you can see who I'm talking about. So there she is, and she was a star, world famous back in the 1970s. While recovering at the home of her parents, Borman became involved with Chuck Traynor, according to Borman. The Traynor was charming and attentive at first, then became violent and abusive. He allegedly coerced by Traynor. Linda Lovelace was soon performing as Linda Lovelace in hardcore loops, short 8mm silent films made for peep shows back in those days. Anyway, she made, a number of movies, and then after came out, and there were lawsuits that came later, and she had a lot of really negative things to say about her experience over time. And she was not the only one. Betty Page also, afterwards, she didn't so much come out and say a lot of negative things about her experiences doing her modeling work, but she found God and became very religious and left all of that behind. But so many other adult film stars have come out over time to have very negative things to say. And it isn't just the women, it's the men as well. This guy's name, his stage name was Randy Spears, and he, I think it was the 80s when this guy was popular, maybe the 90s. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a really good documentary online where he is one of the main people interviewed, and he talks about his experience of trying to become like a mainstream movie star, and it looked like things were somewhat promising for him, but because he was struggling, he fell into the adult film industry because it paid and he needed to pay his bills. And he soon became one of the biggest names in the adult film industry. But today says he regrets everything that he did. Here's a clip from this documentary, and you should seek it out and watch it if you have an interest in this subject matter at all.
There was no emotion involved in the act of making love. What was that, making love? I had sex for money. I was a prostitute. I couldn't feel anymore. See, for me, I had to go to work to do the porn so that I could buy the drugs to bury the pain of doing the porn. So I'd go to work and do the porn so that I could buy the drugs to bury the pain. And around it went. What pornography did to me was it changed how I thought and felt about women. I began to look at them even more so as a sexual object. I lost the ability to have a loving and caring relationship. I thought I was still able. I was fooled. One day, I left the set. I was done for the day. Got in my car, started it up, drove 2 blocks, pulled over and turned it off. And I started to cry. I wanted out so bad. I wanted to get off that merry-go-round. It's the last movie I ever made. And I never went back. I changed my life. I began my life. You see, if I can change my heart, anybody can.
Yeah. Something to think about. Kind of a strange show tonight. I don't know. I don't like seeing people fighting in the streets, and I don't like where things have gone. I feel some days I feel hopeless, you know. Feels like the world's falling apart. I feel like people are being pushed further and further apart, and it was more than the masks. It's all these distractions. It's Netflix, and it's the convenience. It's just so easy now to find gratification. Just like Aldous Huxley warned us about in Brave New World. Just go to a website. It's all over and done with in a matter of minutes. Nobody to argue with. Nobody to compromise with. Nobody to talk to after. Where is it going? Virtual reality, artificial intelligence. I'm already seeing advertisements for AI companions. The woman of your dreams, or the man, or whatever you want in between, or on either side of that. Come to life in virtual reality. Exactly the way you want it. Made to order. There's no compromise in that. That's not a real relationship. That's confirmation. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, today very few people really want truth. I'm not sure people even want real relationships anymore. What people do want is confirmation. Because it's easier that way. I'll be back tomorrow night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the program again. As always, a privilege to be here with you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Tomorrow's another day. Let's try to make tomorrow better than today. Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia Productions.